Hi, Nick. Go. You do the intro. Why it didn't pick it up? Do it again. Sorry, I mid sneeze.
Oh,
I'll. This is a train wreck of a start of episode. Go, Nick. Do it.
we are just all over the place today.
I
Did you
felt.
sneeze like 3 times?
I.
That was awesome.
I felt the sneeze coming when I pushed the intro button, and I thought, "Oh no, it's going to happen right when we start the
It,
show." And here we are,
it's your friends, Nick and Andrew. What's up, everybody?
having an active allergy attack during a live show. Hi, everyone.
uh,
I'm Andrew Hochradel.
I am Nick Longo.
And
I just had a nice little shot of espresso.
And this is Office Hours. We're a
We're
show that
ready.
happens every single Friday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time here at behance.net/W Live. And Nick, what do we do on this show that has been running forever?
Gosh, in 99 shows,
Today's
believe it or
99.
not, today's 99. We have been here every Friday helping you guys just expand your creativity, improve your work, get better at all the applications. We've covered just about everything. What have we not covered? I can't even think about it.
It's true. You know what we haven't covered
Yeah.
that we realized today? We haven't talked about pitching. We've done an episode
Yes.
where we kind of talked about pitching, but we haven't dedicated an episode to it. So today we were talking about pitching. Let me quick do a vibe check. DJ, pump those jams. There we go. All right, we got some jams. Let me know how the music sounds. We're going to vibe out today, and we're talking about pitching. So this episode has 3 titles. Either just Office Hours pitching, like you see there, or it could be Pitch It Like You Stole It, or
Yeah.
it could be You
Uh-oh.
Better Work, Pitch. And that's what we're going to do. We are going to be talking through my pitching process, which is broken down into 4 categories. You better work and pitch. So we'll get there. Nick, very special
Yes.
next week before we jump into the lesson today. What's coming up next week? One of the best things.
It's our 100th episode. I can't believe we're saying that. That's pretty amazing, right?
Yes, it is. It is our 100th episode. So next Friday, we will be celebrating 100 episodes of Adobe Office Hours. Make sure to mark your calendars. It is just 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. Come join us. We'll have a ton of giveaways. We'll be having fun. We might have some special guests. It is going to be pure, chaotic, unhinged entertainment and fun. And you might learn something. We'll see what happens, right? We never know.
Yes. Can't wait.
Right?
Can't wait.
So
I can't believe it, man.
Let's
Wow.
go ahead and hop in, Nick. Do you want to talk a little bit, just overarching, what is pitching?
Yeah.
Why is it important? What are we doing with this idea of pitching today?
I think the whole idea behind it is it's usually your first initial time presenting something new, presenting something that is promised to a client or to your boss or to your company or whoever you are putting creative work together for. And we are learning just as much as you guys are with every step of the way. I don't think you ever get a certain level of I have mastered the pitch and we will just continue with that model forever. It's ever changing. There's great new things that you can use, the great new technology you can use. You might be doing it virtually in some ways now. So we're going to try to help kind of walk you through our process and an actual pitch at the end as well.
Yep, absolutely. And if you want to, you can always join our Discord. We're hanging out over here. We have some people you can see in the classroom chat. We've got Colby, Elizabeth, and Cool King Fatal Bowser. Nice. So hop into classroom chat. Y'all can talk with each other. And at the end of the episode, we will be bringing one of you on the air live on the show to pitch your idea. So it's going to be a fun time there. Make sure you go join the Discord and get involved in that classroom chat. Just say hi if you want.
Wonderful.
All right,
do it.
Nick, let's hop in and let's talk through my pitching process. And then I think we're actually going to go through some pitches to give you all a
Yes.
little bit of insight and hands-on experience. So let's hop in. Let's hop in with the greatest slide I've ever made in my entire life. And this is a breakdown
careful.
of my...
This once you see this one, there's no turning back.
Yeah, turn off your stream if you don't want this right now. This is a breakdown of how I like to pitch my products. And it is this: 4 steps. You better work, pitch. Those are the 4 steps of pretty much all of the things that I pitch. I would say that I'm a pretty good pitcher. And so I am going to break down how I pitch ideas and how I get clients to have buy-in and how to love the ideas that I have. And it really is just these 4 pillars, right? So first up, you. This is important. You have to show that you are invested in the product and the pitch Show them that you care so that they will care as well. Nick, I've had so many students pitch me ideas that I'm like, all right, pitch me your idea. And they start and they're like, okay, so like I did this thing and and it might not be good, but like,
and I didn't have enough time. So I didn't have enough time.
Yeah, I didn't have enough time. Like I kind of threw this together and like, I think maybe the idea is there, but whatever. Yeah. And so the second that they start that, I'll usually stop them and be like, hold on. I don't care about this at all. And I don't care about it because you don't care about it, right? And so when you're pitching something, you need to make sure that you care about it and you are showing that you care about it. So that's why we start with you, right? Show that you're invested, show that you care, show that you are going to be a part of this.
Yeah.
From
How
there,
do you expect someone to like what you're going to show or fall in love with what you're going to show if you're not showing that same enthusiasm?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
From there, we move, right? We move to better. And better is where I am saying, hey, I'm on board. I'm in this project. I love this project. I am in this product and I am going to help you get better, right? I'm here to help you get better. So we're establishing the goals. We're defining how the pitch is going to help their business and how to make them better, right? So it's the value proposition. So you introduce yourself, say, I am attached to this product. Here's how I am going to pitch through me. And then you say, and I, who already am on your team, here's how I'm going to help you to get better. Man, I'm just going to actively allergy this entire episode.
A good one.
Woo. So better. Next, work. And this is what you think of when you think of a pitch, right? You think of showing the work. And so we're showing the process. We're taking them through the journey. Nick, we've talked about this a little bit, is we need to show people how bad something is for them to appreciate how good it is, right? So this is including sketches. This is including like rough ideas that maybe didn't make it through. Showing the work is not just the final pieces. It is showing the process a little bit.
I find what I'm showing more in the process nowadays is more of the research, the competition, and then I show in samples that are currently out in the marketplace what works and what doesn't. And it's, to me, I think it's better than I think. Here's a good question. When you showed sketches, sometimes I feel like they might see something in there that they kind of want to go back to, and like that didn't make it to the final. So I don't even want to like show them that anymore.
I like to show them. I like to show them like concepts that I was exploring that led us to where it is. Right.
Good.
I want to give them some
trail,
kind of in between. Here's what we talked about and here's what we have. Some kind of middle of like, here's the concepts that I explored right there.
Gotcha.
So from there, right, we are showing them the process. This is the place that if you can flex on scale, this is the place to do it, right? And what I mean by flex on scale is if you have a system, if you built out a ton of pieces, if you have mock-ups, do it here, right? Show the work, show all of that work. And this is where you can put the you back into the why of the work, right? You're showing the work and saying, hey, this is why I did this. This decision was made because of this, right? Remember how I told this story about how I'm attached to this product? Here's why these decisions were made, because it helps me understand this product better, right? You can start to include yourself in there a little bit.
I think this is the work part as well is your space to outshine the competition too.
Yes.
Whereas if you think you're showing enough, your chances are you're probably not. Always add a bit more. I love the fact that sometimes I can have a client say, wow, I wasn't expecting all of this. Like, that's what you want to hear by pumping up the work part as much as you can.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And from there, you go to the pitch portion. And this is, don't just show them what, show them how, right? I think a lot of pitching that we see is just throwing work at them, right? Here's what I did. Here's what I made. Here's what. You need to show them how. How is this going to help? How is this implemented? How is this going to roll out across your organization, right? This is where you start doing systems. You start showing mock-ups. You start really giving them that pitch of how this is going to implement, how this is going to work. And Nick, do you show like all of that stuff, or do you usually just show like, here's the logo and we did it?
Oh yeah, I just thought that. I sent them a JPEG.
Just like, hey guys, it's just like a little like screenshot of an emoji.
And I use Grammarly to say, it tells me exactly what to say. What do you think about this? That's it. Yeah. Nothing more.
Yeah.
No.
So with the pitch, you're really trying to show them the future so they don't have to imagine it, right? This is where mock-ups come in. This is where the things that you want them to do eventually, this is where you put that, right? You're saying, hey, we want this, do this. Here's a mock-up. Here's what it looks like on your building, right? You're giving them all of that and showing them the future, because if you leave it open to the imagination, it can be hard for them to imagine and for them to like actually implement, and they may not fall in love with that idea.
Exactly.
Next on the pitch is, this is where I love to show the breadth and depth of what you can do, right? And how you set them up. So it's not just, hey, here's the logo that I made. It's, hey, also I've written copy for you. I have started to position your business. I've made taglines. We have photography guides, right? You start showing all of those different pieces and how they all work together to become one thing. That is really the glue in the pitch when I'm pitching, is to show them it's not just about that one thing that you thought it was. It's about all the things collectively at the same time.
Perfect. And I think it's smart to say the pitch never comes without an agreement, a deposit, the complete proposal approved on. You do not show anything until money has been paid.
That's a great insight. That's a great insight. Also, hi, Doc. Doc Reed is in chat. If you're watching this after the fact on a replay, this is a live show. It's a live stream that happens. There's a live chat happening right now. Our friend Doc Reed is in there. If you're watching the replay, thanks for watching, but tune in every Friday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, and join our Discord, discord.gg/ACC. So if you hear me talking this way, it's because I am talking to the chat. And we have a question.
At least both of our chats are in the same spot.
Exactly, yes. And so
and shots and things when you haven't been paid yet, or you, but that's the thing. They don't see this until you have agreed on everything. Whatever your agreement has said, I'm usually a 50% upfront deposit for anything like this. So I'm not igniting my pitch and showing it to them until we have that complete approval and signed off contract.
Yep. And even in the idea of showing them the future and signage and all that stuff, for me, when I sign on a branding project, it's just all encompassing. Like, it's assumed that I'm going to include that. That's included in my contract as well.
And so I think that might be what Doc was asking, because now I get what that means. Yeah.
Yep. So if you know you're going to do it, then show them how you would do it with this idea. If you're not going to do it, then don't worry about it. Don't do it at all. Just show them logos, right? It's whatever you've promised. You want to kind of show them what that future looks like with the idea that you're pitching to them.
Exactly. And don't forget too, like you can carry that into your upfront budget, knowing you're going to do those extra applications. Make that that's part of your time. That becomes part of your proposal thing. But what I found in more ways than one, it means I will probably be doing that for them later down the road, and it's 4 months later, and now I'm charging them for window graphics, and maybe those window graphics were in the pitch at the beginning, but I'm almost getting paid. I don't want to say again, but you technically are redesigning new things for them.
Yep, absolutely. There we go. I was trying to go full screen for your pitch, and it kept cutting out your audio. So what we're going to do for the rest of the episode is we're just going to pitch you. We're just going to pitch all of you on some ideas that we've presented and kind of break it down a little bit. And then we might have somebody from our Discord right underneath us come on and pitch their idea as well. Doc, if you want to pitch an idea, hop into Discord. That could be fun. And Doc says mock-ups were me looking at continue the engagement with mock-up of future state items. I don't understand those words. If you want to hop into the Discord, Doc, hop into the Discord, let us know, and you can, we'll bring you on. We can chat and answer your questions live. We love doing that on the show. All right. So, Nick.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Get that water.
Dude, allergies. Let's go ahead and have you pitch. And what are you going to be pitching for us today, the Office Hours audience?
So this is a very recent creative brief, discovery, and concept pitch that was just presented to a client. I'm keeping kind of the parent name of the brand confidential just because of where we're at currently, but it is an extension of what they currently do. They are a frozen food brand, and they're looking at doing a whole new concept. So I'm going to walk you through basically everything we've done. We'll go through it quickly, but I'm going to give you a little bit of my rationale and show you those key things that I add to it to really enhance and show the work, show the connection, show the promise of this, and take it to a level. And you'll see here that like it's almost ready to go if they say yes.
All right. So Nick, take it away to our pitch. You just next page me, and I will sit here and watch.
Perfect. First page is typically everything we have learned in the discovery process, and I put this in as a reminder of everything we have already agreed upon. But again, Andrew and I have stressed this 1,000 times. You do not design anything until you have done your work and your brand ethos and your discovery. And here's my summary, everything from the brand values. This thing has to be 100% authentically real. It has to be comforting. We want it to be groundbreaking, a little bit on the exploratory side. It should be authentic, warm. These are like the most time-honored recipes. They use a lot of things from scratch. There is no terrible ingredient in these things. They are literally as good as your grandma would make. So everything from there, we spell out here. I even do quotes. I love putting in these things about like details matter. They create depth, and depth creates authenticity. I tell them things like, this takes an endless amount of history to make even a little bit of tradition. So when they hear these things, they're really understanding, I've listened, I'm committed, I know exactly what we want to do for this brand. And we even talk about the ideal customer. Next page. So I love the brand archetypes. We're using the Explorer on this one. What I find about this is that they have a promise of freedom. They have a core desire to be independent and explore and discover. Their goal is to live an exciting, more authentic life. All of a sudden, when they see this, they realize the Explorer is my consumer. The Explorer is my brand. So if an Explorer type person finds our brand, they have made a connection. And then the mindset is, where we are going, there are no roads. So I love picking a quote from a movie, from a famous phrase or something like that. There's a lot more information here about what the Explorer in business does. If you screen cap that, you can probably take a closer look at some of the stuff. But this is just a lot of details that we love to give them. So let's keep going.
And we had a question coming in from chat
sure.
real quick. Do you record your conversations, or are these quotes from written exchanges, or where are these quotes kind of coming from that you're incorporating here?
It's so many different things. It's a recording of a conversation we have. It's me taking a note in a conversation we have. It's me looking to find famous quotes that relate to that as well. But I do also record my pitch if we're doing it on Zoom.
Okay, cool. Yes, I love recording Zoom so I can actually see and kind of critique myself. If you guys want to, on my Behance profile, if you click on my picture, wherever it is, or follow, whatever, there's some videos of me pitching that I recorded and then did like commentary on myself pitching. So if you want to see like critique of how I would critique myself on the pitch, you can find that on my Behance.
That's
it is
great.
over there in my video section. All right, Nick, continuing on, where are we going next?
Like I told you earlier, I find like-minded brands that have good examples and bad examples. I show them these because what I love about this is it's setting up the future, right? When I'm telling them we're not going to have too much white space, or we're not going to have fonts that are very hard to read, or we're not going to do darker tones, and I show them these examples, they get it, they're committed to it exactly, and now I know what to design even more, right? So this is the example of what to avoid. The next page tells them what we're going to look for. We are going to look for packaging that tells a story. We're going to look for packaging that creates a store within a store look. We're going to do attention-grabbing graphics and colors to help these things pop, because we've seen some other ones that just kind of fall flat on the shelves. So next page. This is our recipe. I always love to put this in, particularly for food and beverage companies. Yeah, so I put in like the little recipe card that our recipe is home cooked, it's time honored, and they're family traditions. And we're celebrating this company's in like 40-year legacy of incredible recipes and things like that. So again, this tells them that I heard them and I know what I'm gonna kind of try to present. So the next slide, we get into the brand board. If you're not doing a brand board, or this is my idea of like a mood board, but it's doing things a little bit more intertwined and connected. This gives them a little bit of a taste of what to expect when they see the packaging concepts. So it's all found imagery. Everything here, except for maybe the logo and a few things, is literally found things that are from our shared Pinterest board or whatever. And I want to show them how this looks together so they're getting the idea. The next page. I break it down into elements, and I start, this is again, what they could start to expect when they see the packaging. I don't want to show them the packaging and then just make them go, what do you think?
Yeah, right? Do you like it?
I'm leading them up, and I'm almost showing them every little element on their own. Trade dress, colors, patterns and textures? What will illustrations of the food look like that we show on the ingredient side? So that shows it there. This is a fun little breakdown. And again, it shows that there's no surprises when they finally see it. So the next page.
This is so good in a pitch to basically lead them so that when they land on the thing that you want them to love, they already expect it, right? So you drop in the breadcrumbs to get them to a place that when they see the final, they're like, oh yeah, of course. Like you show me all the things that it takes to get there, and I've loved all the things to get there, and now we're here. Of course it's great, right? You don't want to just shock them with the big reveal. You want to really use stuff like this to walk them through.
So the next page kind of shows off our hero brand logo. We are tentatively calling this Made with Love. So it might be just the concept right now, but for me, I needed something to move forward with. So we crafted this one to kind of have all of the feels and everything in there. But again, it is just the concept, and we make sure that's written there. So they're not, you could tell them that 100 times and a client might see something and be like, wait, we didn't decide on this name. So have those disclaimers in there. Always make sure you're being over communicating.
Yes.
Next page talks about photography. What are we looking for when we are going to show off the lasagna? So I tell them little things. We're going to look for garnish. We're going to have plenty of room around the plate for info and text. We're going to have natural inspired countertops, maybe a rustic plate. And then we're going to bring in those woven textiles to kind of help that whole brand vibe of tradition and authenticity, correct?
Yes, love this. I love how you're breaking this down in photography, because I think that this, again, is just pitching them on, hey, here's the idea and the emotion, the feeling we're trying to convey. And even though it's not something you designed, you're saying, hey, these are important to your brand, right? You're helping to understand themselves better.
Yep. So with all that, we can now show them the first concept of the packaging. So I had to take out the name in a lot of spots, so forgive the little blobs on there, but you can still get the idea that I'm showing them, I go straight to a 3D comp. These are all done in Adobe Dimension. They are a time saver. These are no mock-ups I had to buy, and they are the exact dimensions of our box and everything. So when they see this, they're going, wow, okay, like it's coming to life. This is ready to go. And we do every detail down to the keep frozen, the net weight, all of the added things that they need to be on there. So this shows the beginning. The next slide will show the back, basically what the back's going to look like, how we're going to show how easy this is to use, and to the cooking instructions. We don't hide them. We want to make sure they're big and bold so people can see them. The next slide here shows the side. And again, I'm bringing in lifestyle shots. I'm bringing in images of people in their kitchen, cooking, showing the joy of it. We really want that to be the push. And then the next slide, I believe, shows the flat version. So this is what I used, before Adobe Dimension, this is what I used to pitch with, right? You show the flat right on the die line and every ounce of it. But I love that you can show them the hero, and then you can take it down, and then you're like, here's how we've considered the entire package, right?
Dimension is amazing when it comes to this. Like, because this very much was what we'd send people, is just like, here's a flat lay of whatever, and then being able to say, like, here it is, it's done.
Yes,
like, I remember being in design school and printing stuff out and then cutting it and gluing it to make miniature versions, and then like trying to shoot the miniature versions and make them look yes,
got one right here.
Nick has one literally on his desk. You don't have to do any of that anymore because you have Dimension. And here's another one, Nick. Where are we going with this?
So this is option 2. They wanted 2 different options. We agreed that we're very similar in taste, but this one just has a little bit more punch on the logo with this kind of cool, almost red, saucy kind of, like badge behind it. And then the typography is a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more loud. We thought we had one more traditional, one a little bit more, kind of like a little bit more spicy, let's call it. So you can see how the typography plays off a little bit here. Again, we go through the whole process again. We show the front, we show the back. The back one here is a little bit more infographic style. We thought most of the competitors have very busy backs, and you don't even know where to go when you go on there. So I wanted to be crystal clear that you're going to be able to see this in 1 second and see exactly where everything is. So then we go off to, go ahead.
Real quick with this.
Yeah.
When you're showing a back like this that's as different as the first one, is there a part of you that's like, oh, maybe they'll take the front of the first one and the back of the second one? Or are you like, oh man, I hope they only take one of each of these?
Yeah.
Are you designing them so that they can mix and match?
I stressed that we look at them independently. If there are small elements, I'm always open to that being put together. But my fear is that you get the Frankenstein box after a certain amount of like, oh, I want this of here and this on here. When I'm explaining to these, I should tell them how cohesively this was put together to make sure that it tells its story complete. So you don't want to disrupt that.
Yep.
That's kind of what my advice would be there.
Yep, absolutely.
So the next slide, we go into the sides again. Then we get into the flat, I believe, showing that different. Now, the next one I always do is I show them together.
Oh.
I love the at a glance page because most of them, no one's printing things out anymore. I encourage them to print this out, all of them. But again, to have this one page where everything and both of them are together really gives them that sense of how to compete and how to compare them to. So right now we're basically in this stage of deciding between that. I have got the email with the results. I have not looked at it yet because I'm a little afraid.
Ooh, can we do it live? Do we do it live? Can we do it live, Nick? Nick, let's do it live.
Cannot do it.
Okay.
There was my final slide was just my ending, and that is I love to add a final little kind of signature touch. Don't ever end a pitch without some conclusion, some ending thing. You will leave people going, you never want your client or the person watching to be like, was that it? Like, and then they're like, they want to clap or they want to like say something. Always give them that final slide. And I think that's like the perfect little chef's kiss.
Yep. And a question from Doc Reed, was this a logo pitch or a packaging pitch or both?
This one's all together. And because it's together on this one, we did not have the time to do, I would typically have done the logo first and get that written in stone and then move on to the packaging. But this was such a quick one that we combined them together. But I did a bit more of that discovery up front. So we knew we would be pretty in tune with everything that they wanted.
Sweet. All right. So I'm going to hop over. What was the I was going to ask, what was the response to that pitch? But you don't know because it's sitting in your email. You don't want to open it.
Well, we did have we did have a great discussion for about an hour after it, and it was really, really good. They were very swift on their compliments and everything else. But what we decided was, since there's so many people on that are shareholders of their team, that they take this in, look at it for a few days, and come back to me with one cohesive answer. That's the other tip. Never let Cindy from accounting, Bob from sales, and Mark from whatever send their independent thoughts on something.
Yes.
They as a team have to be collective and come back and give you one set that they all agree on.
So yes, when I'm pitching, I go in and I say, okay, who am I pitching to? And like those, I want to talk to two people. Like there's two people that are going to have the opinion that matters in this project. Yeah. As many people as they want can have their opinions, but it's going to filter through these two people to me. And that like helps to kind of build it down. And I put that in the very initial contact is like, who are the people I'm talking to? Because I'm not talking to everybody. Like I can't possibly talk to everybody.
I always say you get the choice of electing the one individual who will be the point person.
Yep.
And so you turn it into a positive, right? Like I used to say, like, I can't deal with 8 of you.
Yes.
You got to turn it around.
All right, so let's hop in, and I'm going to kind of walk you through my pitch. And this is a project that we've talked about a bunch of times on Office Hours. It's just the easiest for me to pull up as an example. So it was this church in Northern California they did a full rebrand for. They haven't rebranded since 1997. So it had been a hot minute. And we were doing full floor to ceiling, new signage, new everything. New everything. So this was a pitch for complete overhaul, renovation, like they had never seen. I'm going to turn the music down just a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to take you through the 4 steps that I use, and you can kind of see how I pitched this, right? So part 1 is you. So I started this out this is somewhere that was right by my house. I would go to like family camp with them when I was little. And so like I had a connection to them, and I'm like, cool, if I have a connection, then that's like, I need to put that in the pitch, right? I need to establish you. So I started out saying, like, hey, ever since family camp, like I understand the values of your company, like, or of your business, and I was a part of it. And right, I'm establishing, here's how I'm attached to this product. Here's not just me coming in as the creative being like, I don't know, I thought it was cool. It's me saying, hey, I have a personal investment in this project, and that's where we're going to take this, right? And from there, I was like, I want to help you create momentum, right? And so that's ending that you with, here's what I can do for you, right? I am here to help you create momentum. And that takes it away from like a me versus you. It turns it into, hey, I'm here to help you with this goal that you'd like to do, which is creating momentum. We're both going to do that together, right? And then I become the guy to help drive momentum. We have a couple questions coming in. Nick, do you want to pull those out for me real quick?
Yeah. So we've got one about, this is Stevens. How do you avoid the situation of three, I'm assuming three people with four different preferences there? I think the idea here is that from the very beginning, you let them know that any response, any reply where they are reviewing something and coming back, I don't care if there's 100 people on their team, it has to come back again with one cohesive set of reply back or direction back.
Yep.
That's just number one.
And I always try to communicate this idea that it's the preference is not as important as the purpose of the project, right? So that's why here, right, I'm in the very beginning of my pitch saying, like, we're trying to create momentum together, right? So if someone comes in and they're like, oh, I want this and I want that. Awesome. Your preference is that you want that, but the purpose is us creating momentum, and that's going to go against the momentum that we're trying to build, right? That establishing that goal at the beginning helps a lot of the preferences to go away to only focus on the purpose, right?
Yes.
So,
and establish that up front. Let them know
yes,
that their preference is not as important as the consumer's lure and attention and gravitation to the product you're making.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
who's buying it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So from there, we move into the better. So we have you establishing me and how I'm connected to the product. To better, how am I going to help you get better, right? And so this is where we're establishing goals, right? Here are the goals that we talked about at the beginning of this project. And these are already set at the beginning by the time we get to the pitch. I'm just reminding them of, hey, here are the goals that we talked about accomplishing, right? We're talking about here are the people that we're trying to talk to, right? Here are the people of the area, showing them, hey, I'm doing my research. I'm understanding how we're going to make you better, right? And then we start to show them how we're going to make better, right? And this is where I start to give them little pieces of my solution, right? So we're trying to create momentum. Well, first, we need to define what your business is, right? And so I did some work to help make you better, to help it make it easier to define and communicate. This is a tagline that we're going to start working with, right? So especially with branding or things that are multifaceted, as you're working with your pitch, you want to give them little breadcrumbs, right? And this is the beginning of that, of, hey, I'm working to make this better. We need to define what you are. I've defined that for you. Here is, through the research, a great thing that we can talk to people. It's just a quick thing, right? We start showing off some of these mood boards, right? To say, hey, what if you kind of looked like this, right? It's like when this is such a bad example. When like girls would like go to the mall before prom and they would like get like the test makeup where they like get their makeup done in the mall. And it's like, oh, you can look like this all the time if you buy these products. That's kind of what I'm doing here, is showing, right? You could be better, or you could be whatever this thing is if you like these things, and we've agreed that we like these things, then let me show you what you look like with these products, right? So I'm showing them what we've agreed upon. I'm showing them how I've been working to make them better. And then I move into showing the work, right? And so it's not necessarily, like I said, sketches and showing crappy stuff. Sometimes it's just taking them on that journey through the pitch so they feel connected to it, right? Okay, so next we're moving into the work. And this is where I start to explain kind of the merge between where we were, what we've talked about, kind of the mood boards, the stories that I have connected, the research, and start to show some of the concepts, right? And so this is something that is like, hey, this is not where we're landing, but I started thinking about the stories that I have and the concepts and the location. Like this organization is right by a lake. It's somewhere that like all these stories kind of come in and out. It's somewhere that we've seen these topography signs that we saw on the mood boards, right? And I start to unpack just concepts for them, right? Not saying, this is your logo, we did it, right? I'm just showing them something that says, hey, this is just something for you to look at to help understand where we're about to go, right? I'm linking where we've been and where we're about to go. Someone is saying we need a role play here to see as an example. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, Nick, do you want to be the client?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Hold on, wait, I got it. Let me pause the music. All right, and scene. All right, cool. So let's hop into the middle of our pitch over here. So we talked about some mood boards here of kind of loving these ideas of strong typography, having little pops of color. We talked about a lot of movement, people being on journeys, both in life and on a physical place, right? That if you're expanding to different locations, it's somewhere that there is a lot of places that people are with your business, right? We like this kind of warping idea, and we love the idea of line work. We loved kind of being able to use textures and subtle moments to kind of show people on those journeys. So as I started thinking through these ideas, I started playing around with those ideas. And how do I translate the ideas of water ripples, of a location on a map, right? Maybe we have some lines that someone is running and drawing a line behind them, right? And how do we capture that place that they are in life, or the location, and really the individualness of that person, right? And so
I'm kind of feeling like people are on a journey with this. Am I correct?
Yeah, right. And you can understand, as you see here, kind of the motion here, right? There's nothing that's identifiable about this kind of mark, but it feels like it is in motion. It feels like it's dynamic. There are things overlapping each other, and there's something interesting happening, right? That feels like it is telling a story. And that's what we wanted to do, is we wanted to capture those stories into individual marks. And so this is a system of marks that I'm calling pebbles that capture both geographic locations as well as even kind of moments in life, right? Swaying in and out, of having a stressed out moment, of using these lines and symbols to create little moments on people's journeys. And again, okay, so this is me breaking out of character. So I'd show them this, I'd explain that idea, right? And then this is where I always go back in that work portion into, again, talking about me, right? That it's not just about the work, it's about, hey, here's how I relate to this work. And here's how I, as a normal person, would relate with your brand, how I would use this product, right? And so then I say, for example, right now giving this pitch, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm excited. I think that there's a lot of big momentum that's building here. And so this would be a good snapshot of the moment that I'm in, right? That I'm a little nervous with these wavy lines. I'm excited with this line going up, and like maybe I want to turn and run away, right? And so that way, right, as I'm pitching this idea, I'm putting a little bit of myself in it and helping to use myself as an example for them to understand, right? Because they can, in their heads, get their consumers in their head, and they're like, oh, the consumer's going to think this, think that. And in a pitch at this point, right after showing them the thing, I always think it's great to be like, hey, I'm your consumer. Let me tell you my experience with it. Yes. And then they go into like, oh, our consumers are going to experience it this way. Yeah. Like, yes, they will.
You've almost like I don't want to say brainwashed, but you've led their mind into thinking exactly what the consumer is going to think of when they see this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so this is where I start to move to kind of that flex on scale, right? And so then I start showing them the logo, right? This is the mark, and it represents a physical location that is by their actual physical location. It's showing people's moments in life, custom typography. We're putting it together, and then we go into the full pitch, right? And now we're off the rails. This is us flexing on scale to show them, hey, I listened to you, and not only have I done one thing, I've started to tell you what the future might look like, right? That, hey, I helped you to make it better communicative, that it's a place for you, but it's also a place for all these other things, right? And this is where you really start pushing into different amounts of, like, here's all the work that I did for you. I did colors. We named all these colors, right? We've got river blue, lake blue, all of these colors, and the story that all these colors relate to different locations around where the business is, right? We have all of the color palettes broken out for those. And then from there, I start going into the full pitch, right? So I'm saying, hey, here's all the work that I've done for you. Here's how we're going to make things better. And now here's how this works. So I start showing them, here's how it works. We've got thousands of different combinations to use for your business, right? Here's some mock-ups. Here's what it looks like on wood and metal. Here's what it looks like on a poster. What if it was a bus stop? What if it's a card? It translates down to kids as well. It can be fun. Here's something that here's what it looks like when it's animated. The video doesn't exist. All right, great. Here's what it looks like when it's animated. On skateboards, on coffee cups. Here it is on some shirts, social media, business cards, koozies, right? And so this is during this pitch is when I, right, hit that button and just crank it to 1,000 and just hit them with all of the things they could imagine to say, hey, you, once you got the idea, started thinking about what the future could look like. Let me show you what the future looks like, right? So I show all these mock-ups, and then I go into, not only have I done mock-ups, I've defined, here's your typography standards. Here's how we can communicate with each other. Here are our new link structures, right? And I always finish with a slide like this. So Nick was saying on the pitch, you always finish with something that doesn't leave it hanging, right? So I would say right here, this is how I'd finish. We'll role play again. So we have new links so that people are able to figure out more. And just like we want to make Lakeside a place for you, we've bought the domain lakeside.is so that it can be Lakeside is community, family, whatever it is. So we've helped to position that. So with that, Lakeside is now going to be a place for you. It's a physical place. It's an emotional place. It's a place on the journey of life that we're all taking. And they're all unique to us. You could see here, those lines are running through the stories and the different engagements that we'll have, and it scales into a system that is sustainable and can keep continuing to grow with the many stories that will be coming through this establishment, right? And then you leave this up and land it on that. So here's what we talked about, and we did it, right? And then you leave it here. And so always have a slide to kind of land the plane on, because they're going to start talking immediately. And you don't want to go back and forth through slides, because that just makes it really weird. You want to have everything they want to talk about. Let me correct that. You want everything you want them to talk about on a slide, and you guide that conversation after they're done.
Exactly. That's the best way to do it. And I think this plays as like a billboard to just be there while the conversation starts.
Yep.
A lot of times, right?
Absolutely.
And a great way to
just
do it.
as a follow-up, which I think is just cool to see, is this project is done, implemented. I haven't posted a case study. I need to post a case study. But this is what they did with it, right? And so we gave that pitch. I showed them the future of what it could look like. And I didn't do any of this. So this is after handoff. They did this all themselves. And so it shows you, if you show them what the future looks like, they'll get it, right? They'll implement it if you define that well enough. And in the pitch, they're seeing it for the first time and falling in love. And then you see, cool, you implemented it. You kept it going because I showed you the future and you pulled it and created that future for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So that's a huge sell on them to say, hey, here's what's going to happen 6 months from now. Because during that pitch, they're like, yes, let's do that. And then they do it.
It's almost that like there's a risk that they can destroy what you give them months and down the road. But if you've done it right and set up really good pillars for them, they're going to follow and take over and continue to lead with everything you've established for them.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know? And that's what you want, because again, you can't be that person that's attached to them for months and years down the road after doing something like this.
It's true. And you don't want to be. I mean, maybe you want a retainer, but you want to kind of get them out. All right. So we only have 10 minutes left. I'm going to pull somebody on. Excuse me.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pull somebody on to our show who is going to pitch to us, which is going to be super fun. So our friend Colby is in the Discord right now. And Colby, we're going to pull you down into the show. Hi, Colby. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
What's up, Colby?
Not much. I'm a little intimidated now. Both of y'all's pitch decks were so incredible.
Well, we've seen your recent work, dude. So we're excited.
Yeah, your work's incredible.
I appreciate it.
So, all right, I'm going to hop in here. I'm just going to give the floor over to you. We have your pitch up here. You can just tell me to go to the next slide when you need to. And we got about 10 minutes. So pitch away, and we'll give you some feedback and thoughts at the end once we're finished.
No, sounds good. I appreciate it. So it's a new client, a little passion project in parentheses, but Lumsden Groves Beverage Company is kind of the brand that we are designing for today. Do you want to go to the next slide for me? So a little bit about the brand. Like we said, the product we're working on is a tangerine kombucha. So specific flavor. The objective is the brand visual identity and a scalable packaging design. So a little bit about this. It's a delicious tangerine flavor of the healthy Lumsden Groves kombucha. It's a local delicacy made with local ingredients and natural ingredients. The flavor serves best on a sunny, humid morning alongside tangerine flavors. You can find notes of coconut, strawberry, and pine. So it's a little bit of copy I just kind of wrote to kind of fill in some of the text alongside the packaging as well. So descriptive words. I tried to map out a lot of different things that came to my mind. Typically, I'll write like a mind map kind of by hand, but fractured my arm recently, so I'm like, okay, keyboard seems like the right bed for this. So I mapped out a lot of words, ones that really did kind of catch my attention, highlighted in orange, just to see if I can keep moving it forward. This is the next thing I saw you guys recognize, a little tip I picked up from off hours, is to really kind of narrow down a little bit of the vibe, where it's like this and not that. So I was trying to list the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like with it. So like authentic and not like a hipster vintage, sun faded colors and not overly printed like artificial, handmade, not manufactured, and a healthy alternative and not a kid's drink.
Yes, this
So
is. I'm
those are
going to
kinda-
stop you real quick. Sorry. This is
Okay.
one of the top tips that I do in pitches that I'm so glad to see here is don't just say what they are, say what they're not as well. In a pitch, it's so
Yeah.
helpful and they feel heard when they're like, oh, you know that we're not that. And yes, the audio got a little bit glitchy. It will come back in. We're good. Hold on tight, everybody. All right. Take it away. Next slide. Here we go.
Go for it, man.
Yep. So then I started to map out what the visual identity might be like, which might be kind of overload, but it also helps me to not focus on anything specific and just get a general sense of what that vibe might be like. So some of the things that kind of stood out to me that I really wanted to focus on was like this vintage lettering they might find on these really old, beer cans or these like, coffee, cold brew type lettering. This faded Everglades is kind of a words I kind of combined here because it's like this vintage kind of beachy vibe that's been like sun bleached a lot. It's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. So these really floral leaves, these very outdoor and natural kind of colors. It was something that really caught my attention, as well as handwritten journal. I used to think like it's very, old school way of doing things. So I think it adds a little bit of authenticity to have this very handwritten kind of vibe to it as well. So then I tried to think what type could be fun to play in here. It's a handwritten vibe. You can see I'm kind of trying to sneak in a secondary typeface that most people hate. But then I also try to look into the colors that are a little beachier. And I originally got these because I picked the colors I did like. And then I was like, let me toss on a bright yellow, multiply, and just see what a bleached kind of version, a little sun bleached or that's not a word.
Sun drenched.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I'm looking for. A version like that. And then the textures, just like not really clean lines, but these really rough kind of painted, at borders. It was something that caught my attention as well.
Nice.
So then I tried to think of like, okay, what a lockup could be like with these type. So I explored that first typeface and I figured out good ways to modify it with some of the glyphs and to kind of make that M way longer than it should be. Try to sneak in that Comic Sans a little bit more and add like the actual brewery or the beverage company name beside it. And then show it how it could look one color and a different, bright color as well. And then I try to think about, okay, if we're going to put this on an actual label, what's a quick version of this so we can kind of see what it looks like in a way, how it wraps around this surface, where the placement of the company name might be, just some of the text and how that word mark in a way might wrap around that can. Next slide, please. And then to actually show it rendered on a package made with Blender to kind of show like what it might look like, beside all the other products and what, not the can might look, but also just the outer packaging around it. And then final slide, if you don't mind. So thanks. That's kind of what I have at the moment. But after seeing you guys, I'm just gonna stop talking.
No, can I just say Faded Evergreens? That's the name of my new band.
Faded
I love
Everglades.
that.
That's the greatest art direction I've ever heard in my life. Like that Faded Everglades is so good.
You sold it
Thank
great,
you.
dude. I think your confidence comes through in just also your enthusiasm comes through in the way you deliver. If I just heard that, I'd be dying to know what you were talking about, like the visuals. You know what I mean? So I love that you got that great. But this is wonderful. I think what's neat is your great point on this slide on your mood boards was you overdid it because you don't want to be too committed to one or two things. And I think that's a smart way to go. I think sometimes I do pick one that might be part of my mood board and it becomes the star. And you know what I do with that one? I take it out typically because that's just telling me it's too heavy of an influence,
Yeah.
But this is great, dude. I loved everything you did. The colors look great. Everything, and then taking it to the packaging at this point, when you're taking it to the box as well, that could be a great thing because maybe they haven't even thought about that at a certain point. They're only thinking cans and they're not thinking the 6-pack box. You've just showed them a quick concept, and that's great.
Yep.
Thank you.
I love this. My only thoughts, and there's a great man. If somebody can find this in chat, that'd be super helpful. There's a great theory of writing that, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the guys who do South Park, talk about. That they write episodes, and if something fills in with "and then it gets cut, right? If this happens and then this happens, then it doesn't make sense. Like, we got to cut it. But they look for things that say this happens, and because of that, or like in addition to, or something, there's some kind of phrase, if somebody can find it on the internet somewhere, that they talk about of how they write. And so
is it story beats?
Maybe it's story beats. Yeah. There's a video on it that they do, but if
That's
you can,
what it is. Yeah.
if you can find that, it's a fantastic to watch, and that's a great idea for pitches. And so as I'm looking through this, my only feedback is there's a little bit of like "and then" happening, right? We have like the descriptive words, and then here are some mood boards, and then here are the colors, and then here's a logo. So I love some stuff in between these that kind of helps to bridge those gaps, right? So I love this Faded Everglades was like just such a great idea, and the mood boards are so gorgeous. I would love to see like the next one down being maybe like a
thoughts
sign. I'd love to see like a sign or something to help me connect all of the things funnel down into where we're going, right? So right now this is like the top of the funnel. I need something in the middle that's maybe like some signage from like a martini or a margarita shop in Florida, or something that's, kind of parsed down a little bit, that then kind of gets us to like this kind of type is why we landed here, right? Because I see a lot of things here, but I want to know, how does all of this connect to where we've landed right here? So some kind of transition between those two.
What was the importance of the Comic Sans edition? Was that just a challenge, or did you tell us?
Yeah, more of a personal challenge. At Creative South this past week, me and a friend, we were debating whether Comic Sans is just terrible altogether, or whether it can be okay if it's used well.
Sure.
So it's more of a passion project to try to just start that debate up again with my friend.
Good. I think you're right in saying that. Like, Hobo was brought into Stump Down Coffee, and that was written off. You could never use it, and they brought it in beautifully. So good point, man. Good point.
Thank you.
And maybe your through line here is because all of this feels very physical, right? That I'm like imagining a place when you put all this in here. I would almost jump straight to these mock-ups of the type, but put these on signage on a beach. Put this on a billboard that's run down. Put this on the side of an ice cream truck or something.
More lifestyle in there, I think would work.
Don't just show it as a digital. Really tell me that story. And I think that would help to pull it through. And then I think the colors would be things that like, oh, these colors were out of that photo that I just saw you. Right? There was like the ocean, there were some trees, there was some sand. Like, it feels like a familiar story. I need to get the setting. I need to get my bearings a little bit more before we get into seeing things. Because by the time we get here, I'm like, oh, I totally get it. Like, this is gorgeous. But the jump between like the mood board to colors, and then we're like, oh, now we're here. I need something kind of in the middle there.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I love the is not. Nick, anything that you would change in this to make it a better pitch? What would be your thoughts?
I love your idea of just bringing a little bit more like tell me the place this lives by showing a few more visuals of locations, of vibes, of people. And particularly with lifestyle drinks and beverages, I think it's so important to give that human touch in a way that can help sell it. I'm noticing too, I'm sure you've seen them as well, Colby. There's some great mock-ups now that show people holding a can, and it's in a beautiful environment, or it might be on a beach or on a hike. And I've noticed the big difference of starting to show those and using those with clients. They automatically, it's showing them the future. It's showing them where their brand could be down the road, But here's the other thing. The Comic Sans, I think, is the only thing bugging me to a point where I love the idea of your challenge, right? And if you turn this into a case study and you can successfully make it work, it'd be a fun little like tangent that I think only creatives would get. But just keep in mind, if you do use this on your portfolio and on your website and everything, make it the best it can, because 90% of the people who you be wanting to see this are going to you for the advice and for the expertise, right? And so figure that out.
I think if you set the scene with because like to me, the Comic Sans in there gave me very like local ice cream shop on the pier in Florida at the beach, which I'm not mad about. I'm like, that's a kind of a cool vibe. And so if you're going to do it very intentionally. And I would show it like literally just look for something and like put it in a setting where I understand what this is, right? They're like, put it on a billboard next to palm trees, put it on this sign over here. Something that helps me understand what the vibe is, because I think something like that needs a lot of context around it for it to work. Because if I saw this on, you know,
a VW bus.
Yeah, like a bus. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, of course it has Comic Sans on it, right? So if you can set the scene, you can get away with a lot of stuff, I think, as well. So thanks, Colby. This was awesome. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting with us. Super fun time. You. And Colby, where can people find you or follow you?
Yeah, so on Instagram at Clites Creative or behance.net/Clites.
Got it. And there will be a link in chat for you. And we did just post the clip right here. It is the But Therefore.
There it is.
You can watch that clip over in Discord. So make sure that you go join the Discord and hang out with us. We're going to pop over into the classroom chat for a second. So if you want to hop over there, I'm going to hang out and say hi to everybody after the show. We're about to get cut off. Nick, next week, when do they tune in?
2:30 p.m. Pacific time, Friday, 200th episode.
100th episode, y'all. We'll see you there. Bye.